Okay, this is the first time I'm doing this stuff. I'm actually not sure how to start. How did I start the podcast?
We just start.
We just start, right?
Yeah.
All right. I think I should have Googled how to start the podcast. Hello, everybody. How are you all doing? Happy New Year. This is like the first content I'll be putting out on my channel, hopefully, for 2025. So here with me, I have my good friend here, Sodiq. I'll let him do an introduction of himself.
Okay, so thank you for having me once again.
Impromptu.
My name is Sodiq, and I'm a software engineer. I
Badass
build
software engineer.
I build solutions for companies, mainly focused on both ends, both front end and back end. Pretty good at both. I like to do a lot of things aside tech. I love to go on adventures. I love to travel. I love sports. I love food. I love meeting people, exploring new things.
Gym bro.
And I'm a gym browser.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love the
Because
gym
that's
a
like very
lot.
important.
Yeah, very. That's a big part of my day-to-day
Yeah.
life. So yeah, that's pretty much like a basic idea of who I am and what I do.
Okay. So let's talk about your career in tech. You talked a lot about what you were doing like before and how you like transition into tech. Talk to me about that whole journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my tech journey is pretty, I don't know, it's kind of not the same as everyone's own would be.
Yeah.
So I used to work in like an advertising firm
Yeah.
before. I was kind of like doing a lot of things there basically. And I would just like set up advertising campaigns for clients. I would like sometimes I'll do sales because it was a very small company. So like you get to like try a lot of things.
Yeah.
But one thing that really stood out to me was we were working with some Indian engineers at that time
Okay.
who were building some of like the custom tools that we had for our clients. And like here today, like I'll be able to like interact with them, see what they're doing, how they're working. And mind you, like I'm someone who comes like from a computer science degree, so like I have a pretty good idea about tech.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
done like a few things in tech before then, but I haven't really like had like a close feel to how it is to actually build things.
Yeah.
In the tech space, because university is just a lot of theory and not a lot of practical.
Yeah.
So I used to watch these guys do their thing, and it just like pushed me to like really want to like go deeper and learn
Yeah.
on my own. So I started learning Python on Code Academy, and it went very well. I completed the Python course. I'll do like a lot of data structures and algorithms in Python. It was very good. And then in 2020, I remember I had a friend of mine that we said, you know what, let's really go deep into this. And then we started learning data science because I mean, the closest thing you can do with Python, if you don't do like web, is data science.
Yeah.
So we're doing that, and it went really, really well. Like we're really good at our stuff. I was able to pick up like, a lot of tools. With machine learning, we're building a lot of models to
That's deep, man.
analyze stuff and all that. So yeah, it went very well.
Yeah.
But there was like a little bit of how like I think like a gap between you having the knowledge and you having what is required to get a job
Yeah.
in data.
Yeah.
And we weren't able to fill up that gap because a lot of times they'll say, oh, like you need to have like a PhD in this, or you need to have a master's in
true. That's
this.
true.
Because data science is a really specialized field.
Like it's very.
It's not just like generalized. You have to like be specific at something before you could get a job.
Yeah.
So we just thought, you know what, okay, this isn't really
working
out. So we said, okay, let's go for web. And then we tried out web. I remember like I moved back home for a year. I was in house grinding 1 year. And then I got very good at web development, which was like for someone who didn't know anything about CSS, I think I built my first website in about 3 weeks of learning HTML and CSS. And then the following week I started using JavaScript to build interactions on the web. And it just kept going on like that. I remember when I learned React in a week.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how much like I was in the house grinding like every
What year was this?
single day. This was 2021.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was really grinding, and it went very well for me, and I got good at it. And from there I started like practicing, doing stuff on my own, built personal websites, And then, the big question comes, okay, you know all those things, how do you get a job?
Yeah.
So that was like a big challenge for me. So I reached out to, no, I didn't reach out to someone. I joined HNG.
Okay.
Yeah, this was like,
Okay,
okay, let me even
that
get a
program is
feel.
crazy,
Yeah,
man.
very crazy, very crazy. I remember like the first, well, it was a
Dang.
breeze for me because I'm like, I know these things.
Yeah.
Like I was just breezing through all the stages like
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
easily. So HNG was actually pretty cool for me because I got to like work with different people, even though I
Yeah.
had that experience like beforehand, like
Yeah.
working with people in like particular setting, but it was very good for me as well. And then I think by the end of 2022, I applied to Andela.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reached out. I reached out to. No, I heard from a friend about Andela, and then I applied to Andela, and then that's like the beginning of like a lot of things for me because Andela really changed my life, like literally.
Mhm.
So I had my first interview with Andela with Domino's, the famous Domino's pizza. Apparently, they have like this big uh, tech side of the company that a lot of
Yeah.
people don't really know about.
Yeah.
I did the interview, and then I got dropped at the final stage. Yeah,
I know that feeling.
yeah, it happens. But I mean, it was a very eye-opening experience for me, and it helps me realize that I actually know what I'm doing. Like this tech stuff, I know it.
Yeah.
So like I was demotivated for a little bit, but at the same time, I was like, you know what, you can do this.
Mhm.
So fast forward, like a few months later, that was in 2023. I didn't get another interview. Actually, I applied to a role I found on Andela, and then they reached out to me. They were like, okay, we like your profile, this and that. Let's have a chat. This was like very easy peasy, no coding interviews. It was just
Yeah.
like talk about what you know,
Mhm.
and then more like a cultural interview,
Fits,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah, so I did two of those, and then like a week after I applied, I got the role,
Yeah.
and that like began like the whole tech journey. So that's just how the whole thing just happened
Yeah.
up to today.
I still remember how excited you were. Like,
Oh,
when
yeah.
you called me that day. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah, like yeah, we finally made it.
yeah. Interesting story, man. Interesting story. So you mentioned something that I want to ask about data,
Mhm.
like with Python,
Yeah,
and how you're required to have a PhD
yeah,
in. So, because like I played a little with Python and AI, some AI
Okay.
tools, just like to see. So I feel like in 2020 there was this 2021
Mhm.
there was this rush into the tech space and
Yeah.
like the FOMO, like fear of missing out.
Mhm.
Yeah. So and I feel like we're in that phase again in AI where people are trying not to miss out on the AI bubble
yeah.
kind of thing. Do you think the whole having a PhD in data or say a discipline around that is a major factor, or you think like with time it will sort of like loosening because there are more demands for like AI ML engineers right now?
Well, I really can't say for now, but what I know, I really
Yeah.
can't say about the future. But for
Yeah.
now, I would say data is one space that everyone is trying to get into because
Yeah.
they think it is much more easier than software engineering.
Mhm.
Because I remember back then in 2020, you'd hear they used to term data science as the sexiest job of the decade,
Yeah, that's
or
true.
or the century, something like that.
Yeah,
So like
yeah, that's
everyone was
true,
trying
that's
to
true.
get into data science, data
Yeah.
analytics, and code because they felt it was easier.
Yeah.
And so I think the need to, cut off a lot of those people was like because the demand was high. So
Yeah.
like these companies needed a way to like separate people and, really pick out people that would really stand out. And I think that's where the whole thing about having a PhD and having,
Comes
yeah.
in. Okay.
And then another thing that I realized that helps in terms of data and AI is that most likely every company has specific needs for AI.
Yeah.
So most times they want you to be like a specialist in what they are doing,
Yeah.
even outside of the tech side of it.
Mhm.
Like let's say you're applying to a medical or a pharmaceutical company that wants to like do some data science stuff. They
Yeah.
expect you to have some background in pharmacy or medicine, then in addition to the tech
Yeah.
skill as
Yeah.
well. So like those are the kind of things that they try to use to set people apart for those roles.
I think that makes sense actually. Okay, so let's talk about like journey after like into your personal life. So I know you moved to it's not like of course I know you moved to Ghana.
Yeah.
And before that time we're talking about you getting like a place in Lagos here,
Mhm.
and then one day just like you know what,
Yeah.
it's like move to Ghana. How has that whole process been? Because I feel like it was very last minute for you.
It was.
Yeah. What's the culture shock like? What's the major difference between Lagos and Accra?
Yeah. Lagos and Accra, they are very two distinct places.
Mm-hmm.
When I go into Accra, Accra felt just like home to me. You
Interesting.
know, it was very calm,
Yeah.
very, very quiet.
Wow.
And like everyone is kind of like moving at an easy pace. You know,
Mhm.
when you're in Lagos, everyone is like
So
this,
yeah,
that, like
bustle.
every now and then. They also bustle. In Accra, like things are much more laid back. I think one of the culture shocks I experienced is that you could come out of your house at like 6 p.m. and
Yeah.
shops are closed. I'm like,
Wow.
that's not possible. In Lagos, people are selling till 10 p.m., 11 p.m.
They
You
don't want
know,
to make money.
they're trying to make more. Yeah, it's like everyone, people don't really need the money. Like, and then everything is just so slow paced. Like, if you go to a store, like no one is rushing or
Yeah.
like taking their time. And if you bring that Lagos mindset of, oh, everything needs to be quick,
Yeah.
you're like,
Fast.
why are you slow? Like, why are you this? But like, I've learned to like adjust
Just calm
to
down.
the way they do things and just calm down. You know, like life is not going anywhere. Like life will move on regardless. So just
Yeah.
take your time, do what you want to do, and just get it. And another major culture shock that I experienced was recently they had their election, their presidential election.
Yeah.
And it felt like a normal day. You know, you could
Wow.
go out, you could get food, you could go to stores. The place I used to do my laundry was open.
Wow.
The car wash was open. Like it felt like a normal day.
Yeah.
You know, everyone just went to their designated place of voting. They voted, went back home. You know, transfer was going on as usual. It felt like a regular Saturday. And then
Nice.
24 hours later, you just saw people on the street dancing because the results were out. Like I was like, I've never experienced it in my 20 something years of experiencing voting
Yeah.
in
Lagos.
Nigeria. This has never happened. So it was very cool to see that kind of change and balance in a country, in an African country to be
Yeah.
precise. Yeah.
So one question about Ghana.
Yeah.
Have you had the Jollof, Ghana Jollof?
Yes, I have.
Do a comparison.
So both are very great, and it
Mhm.
just comes down to preference. And I can understand why a Nigerian or a Nigerian will say, "Oh, Nigerian jollof is better than Ghana jollof."
Yeah.
In Nigeria, we love our spice.
Yeah. Okay.
We love our smoky, spicy jollof rice.
Yeah.
Ghanaians, they have very little tolerance for spice. So when you go there, like their jollof is not as spicy as a Nigerian is.
Oh.
Nigerian's one is. And then they don't really cook rice the way we cook rice. Like if a Nigerian eats Ghanaian jollof rice for the first time, you would say it is not done. It's not well done.
Oh, okay. It's
Because I
prepared
think,
properly.
they have like this, they do it in more of like a stir-fry nature, like the
Oh,
Chinese.
okay.
Whereas we like really cook, boil our rice. It's soft. It is, good and all that. So, but like I've eaten both, and honestly, like if you're the type of person that you love your spice in your jollof rice, you love it smoky, spicy, and all that. Obviously, the Nigerian jollof rice would be like the perfect fit for you. You won't like any other jollof rice. But if you are also like open to like eating like stir fry style of rice, with just mild spice and all that, then the Ghana jollof rice is also good. So I don't really say one is better than the other. It just comes down to preference. Because living there for over 1 year, like I eat Ghana jollof rice on the regular. And then like I still like it. And then when I come home, I eat my Nigerian jollof rice. I like it as well. So like there's no need to like put both of them against each other.
You've gone full Ghana boy. Akwaba. How this is Akwaba,
Yeah,
right?
Akwaba.
What does that mean actually?
Welcome.
Oh wow. Nice. So let's talk about your recent trip. Round trip you did from Ghana to Togo and here in Nigeria back. Like how was that whole process?
So yeah, like you said, it was last minute, but not really, really last minute. Like I knew I wanted to do the trip, but it was just like, okay, I had like not a lot of time to like really plan out a full-blown trip. Or I'm gonna do this. It was just like, okay, I want to go on this trip. I want to visit these countries and let's do it. So, and for context, I drove through, all the way from Ghana to Nigeria.
Bold. That's so bold.
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions, but
so I left Ghana to Togo. It was kind of like, okay, I need to do this. I had to get my papers right. I got some international. You need to have like international documents that grants you access to drive in these countries because you're passing through 2 different countries. 3 basically: Togo, Benin, and Nigeria. So I got my documents, and then I knew I was going to have a stop in Togo just to experience the beach in Togo. It was a very nice experience. I spent 4 days in Togo. Togo was very calm. They had very good rules. Again, I didn't go everywhere in Togo. I was just in a very specific place. So like that's my experience. And I was able to get Nigerian food there. I saw some Nigerian restaurants. It was just a very calm vibe. I feel like going to Togo was kind of like I wanted to go and relax because I was just indoors, close to the beach, enjoying the waves,
Yeah.
enjoying the fresh breeze and all that. Very cool journey. It took me about like 4 hours,
Wow.
4 to 5 hours thereabout. And then I proceeded on the fourth day to Nigeria, passed through Benin, and then all the way down to Nigeria. The trip was very good. It was very smooth. For the most part, the roads were perfect. You didn't have to like go through like I was hitting like over 100 kilometers like steadily on these roads. Like the roads were free,
Yeah.
and so it was a very smooth trip. And border controls at Togo and Benin were very okay. Like I didn't spend a lot of time there.
Yeah.
For a first timer, it's a little expensive
Yeah.
because the first time taking that car across the borders. But it was all good. The only challenge I had was when I got to Seme, that's Nigeria's border, Nigeria Benin border.
Yeah.
They kind of like delayed me a little bit. You had to like pay some crazy money, which you get back. But it's just wild to think about. If you're bringing a foreign car into Nigeria, there's
Yeah.
something called a bond that you have to pay. It's kind of like a collateral to
Give you access.
yeah,
to the
give you
country.
access and saying that, okay, when you take this car into the country,
Come back.
you're going to bring it back. Because apparently people take cars from like these countries and they go to sell it in Nigeria and the customs have no, I mean, this is another conversation of why the custom can't track cars that came into the country illegally. But conversation for another day. So yeah, you pay this bond,
Yeah.
about $1,500 thereabouts when you convert it. You drop it at the customs, and when you bring your car back, you take your money back, and then you can leave. So country, the trip very good. Everything was smooth. I'm not used to a lot of things anymore.
Yeah.
Driving style way different. People are a lot crazier here compared to where I'm coming from. But I grew up here. I always have my ways of navigating things. So yeah, it's been good.
In Europe, how it's so easy to like travel within the continent. Then in Africa, it's just like madness.
Yeah.
Anytime you see people do road trip in Africa, going through countries, it is a crazy process.
Yeah.
I've seen a few white people coming to Africa, and it's just a whole crazy process. There's this lady, can't remember her name, but she drives a bike
Okay.
around the whole world. And then she came into Africa. She was traveling from Nigeria all the way to South Africa. She had some crazy experience in Nigeria. Probably one of her highest viewed videos. She has a YouTube channel. One of her highest viewed YouTube.
Is it Ichi
video.
Boots?
Exactly, that lady, yeah.
Yeah.
Ichi Boots, yeah. So she had some experience in, I think, Benin or so, where the police were trying to extort her.
Yeah.
So there is a whole crazy process traveling in Africa
Yeah.
than you would see in countries like Europe. And I feel like that's one major reason why doing business in Africa is just like so hard.
Yeah.
Because when you begin to think about how goods are moved from one country to the other, whole mess.
Yeah.
Because like countries like Kenya now, where coffee is a big deal, they make a lot of coffee. You would expect that it's so easy to move those goods from Kenya to other parts of the country, but it's actually not. And for countries as close as Nigeria, Ghana, Cotonou, Togo, you would say that most Nigerians have never been to these countries.
Yeah, 100%.
Never been to this country. I've never been to Ghana, hopefully. Hopefully I'll do that very soon. But
And I think another advantage that Europe has is because they have like a unified currency.
yeah,
So
true.
that helps a whole
True.
lot. Like, you traveling within Africa, if you want to go to like 5-6 countries, you have to, they're using 5 like different currencies all
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
So it's like, oh, you have to change money here, then convert it here, then it's just a
Yeah.
whole lot of stress.
I don't think Africa is
Trade
ready
across-
for
yeah.
one currency.
They aren't
I
ready
don't- I
for
don't-
that.
I don't
I mean,
think
we
they're
aren't even like
We're not
tight
united.
knit, so
The whole, I remember when I was in secondary school, when, a lot of things used to be, I used to find a lot of things, like, I used to be curious about a lot of things. And one of the things was like, why do we have to write WAEC? You get, like, why can't you just use NECO? Because I know NECO is like a Nigerian
yeah.
exam base, and WAEC is like for
West
West Africa.
Africa.
So and then that's when I started to do research on like the whole ECOWAS and all that kind of. So then it used to be a big deal, but right now it's like trash. There's a lot of things happening, and I recently found out that the chairman of ECOWAS is the Nigerian president. And it's just funny because like our country is really going in the wrong direction. So how do you manage West Africa? I hope that someday that these things could get better.
Someday.
Let's talk about the whole idea of creating things like
Yeah.
outside of tech, a different thing you do just that you find interesting, like creating content, creating things generally. Let's talk about the fear of being seen, especially like when you're starting out.
Yeah.
The fear of being seen, because like I feel like you have crazy gears, like you have literally everything set up.
Yeah.
And the last time we had this conversation, or when we had this conversation in depth was like 2 years ago in 2023. and then we're talking about creating stuff and all. And like I was hoping that, oh, this guy like pumped.
Yeah.
I was like some top notch content, but like
Yeah.
that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, but how much of a struggle is this, like, to like start something and to like put yourself out there and
It's a lot harder than most people think. And I feel like to overcome it is a lot easier than most people think as well.
Yeah.
First of all, starting out, I think one of the challenges that I faced is, what do I want to create? It's kind of because I'm the kind of person that I like many things. I do many things.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do I really want to be known for?
Yeah.
Because if you see like a lot of big creators, they always have a niche.
Yeah.
Either they're talking about tech or sports or gaming, they have a niche. But I'm this kind of person that I don't really have one single thing that I'm like, oh, this is like my number one thing, because I do sports, I play games, I'm into
Gym,
tech,
bro.
I'm at the gym.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things that I could decide to create things about, but I just have this fear of, I don't say really a fear, but this position where I'm like, what do I want to be known for? Okay, if I say, oh, I want to create just gym content, do I want to be known as just that gym bro? Like, I still do tech. Oh, I still like do travel. I still do this. Like, what do I really want to be known for? I feel like my own situation is quite different from a lot of people. Than just, because mine is just beyond the fear of starting. It's kind of like, once I start, what do I want to be known for?
Yeah.
So that has been like the major challenge for me. And because obviously when you like watch videos on like people who talk about how to grow in content, they'll always tell you, you should have a niche, have one thing people know you for, because when you divert, like your audience kind of like changes, and then it doesn't like give room for growth.
Yeah.
So that has been like my own major challenge.
Personally, I think when you're starting out, it's good to have a focus. Like, I want to be the next Marquez, I want to be the next Tyra, or any of the big dogs we have right now. But I feel like at the early stage, it is okay to explore your interests and see the one that sticks.
Yeah.
So, because like when you think about this, like you think about it a lot, the point where you now move to execution is always like, it's harder. There's a lot of things to really consider when you start to think about it, like, oh, what do I do? How do I do it? And all. There's like so many questions. But I've come to find out that honestly, once you start the process, like a bunch of the parts that might seem hard, you just sort of, you figure it out somehow.
Yeah.
So interestingly, like, I don't know how to edit videos.
Okay.
I feel like I'm terrible at it. But I've had some people see my video and tell me, how do you do this? How do you do it? I'm like, do what exactly? So, but most times when I have maybe I watch a video now and I see an effect or I see a transition, I'm like, oh, let me try this out. And I want to do it. Basically, I just Google this. I just ask ChatGPT, go on YouTube, and somehow I find somebody that's done it before, or somebody that's teaching how to do it.
Yeah.
And and it's usually not so difficult. Like, you just 10 minutes tops, you're done. I feel like most times we are in our head. For me, one of the things I really struggled with is like, what will people perceive me? Like, how people perceive me? Like, what would they think about me? That kind of thing. Like, the whole idea that everybody's sort of like paying attention to you.
Yeah.
Like, but at the end of the day, like, it's just in my head. I remember when I put my first video out on YouTube, I just feel like we should do it. And I said, what's this guy doing? Like, what's this guy doing on YouTube? But the truth is, a bunch of people did not even watch the video. That's the thing. Like, when I finally put it on my story on WhatsApp or so, yeah, I got a few comments, but maybe just like spend like 5-10 seconds. Oh, this guy is on YouTube now. Cool. Yeah. And then it's like move on with it. But when you stay on that process and you're trying to like, hone this skill, it's like every other thing really is like tech. Like, when we both started writing code, a lot of things used to seem like so difficult. Yeah. It's like, how do you do this? I remember when I started hearing about servers, I had built a server, deploying a server, like, it was so complex. Really, like, but now it's easy because we've done it. Yeah. Okay. So generally, I just feel like a bunch of the things are in your head, and also the point where you said finding like what you want to be known for. That's great, actually. I don't think I found what exactly I want to create. Okay. I really don't feel like I have, because like every other time I have like ideas come to my head. I used to run them my brother. I said like, nah, don't do that. don't do that. Yeah, that kind of thing. So, but generally, I just feel like the more you try something, the better you get at it. So,
question for you.
Okay.
Now you started creating, and I mean, it's still a very early and gradual process for you.
Yeah.
But do you see yourself doing this, from time to time, based on like how you put out a few videos, you've seen like the response. Yeah. Do you think this is something you want to keep on pursuing?
I think largely I just want to have this I want to build this creator mindset. No, I'm not talking about in the sense of like creating content and all,
Okay.
but I just want to create things generally. Like even when I was like much younger, I used to experiment with like a lot of things, just like build things, cars, like toy cars and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. It's just one part of myself that I want to explore and see how far I can go with it.
Okay.
I've come to realize that the ability for people to see you doing something is like very important. Audience is like very, very important in
Yeah.
our time. Because like I read a lot of books. One of my favorite writer is Chinua Achebe. So, and I think about his life, like when he was at my age, like how he perceived his career as a writer. Achebe is like very good. I don't know if you've read any of his book,
I have.
but he's, in my opinion, one of the best writers that have come out of Nigeria. His whole creative journey, because like he went from medical school to writing. The question I always ask myself is like, how much of his work did he put out for people to see? Because he tried a lot of things. He did a lot of things. He was heavily involved in writing. He dabbled into like not exactly politics, but like running the nation and a bunch of other things, but particularly writing. So how did he really put out his work? But then I just come to realize that he used to work in a publishing house. So he basically was putting a lot of his content out there.
Okay.
And basically his first manuscript, which is Things Fall Apart.
Yeah.
He basically sent it to London for it to be published. And that's like publishing a user video. So I feel like he was very good, but if he had not made efforts to put his work out there, he wouldn't have become like what he is. Because I used to think in my head like I should create these things and somehow people should discover it.
Okay.
That's how I feel. Like maybe I just put it on my Twitter. I don't have a lot of audience on my Twitter, and then somebody just say it. I'm like, oh, this is good. But you have to make conscious effort to like put it out there, let people see it, and all. So this is like an experiment for me to put myself out there and show that, oh, I'm trying this and I'm doing this thing. I'm trying to figure it out and all. So I hope that I'll take the journey as far as I can. But even if not YouTube, there will definitely be some part of me that wants to create something. I want to nurture it. I want to see it grow. So that's how I view my life in creating things.
That makes
Generally.
sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
I feel like I said a lot of things. But basically what I'm trying to say is like, let me narrow my thought down. Basically what I'm trying to say is it might not be YouTube, right? That I will decide to create for a long time. But then I do enjoy YouTube. I really enjoy YouTube. I feel like I've spent a lot of my time on YouTube, like from when I was a child. I've been watching a lot of YouTube, and of course that has sort of had an effect in me to want to put content out here. But generally, I have this desire to create things, and outside of YouTube, that's like what I want to do. I want to create things. I want to build things. I want to see them. I want to see them useful to people. So if YouTube, and of course it would, if YouTube would give me that platform, of course I will chase it like as much as I can. And if not, I'll find something outside of that to create. But then the idea is to just be a lifetime creator, like build things and put it out there. Talk to me about the future of your career, the future of tech. Like, what do you see yourself doing like in the next 5 years? Do you still want to be in the tech space?
5 years. I strongly believe I'll still be in the tech space.
Okay.
Yes. Probably not working as an employee,
Yeah.
but I see myself owning something,
Yeah.
and just running a tech, enterprise or something. Just doing something on my own.
Yeah.
Because I've always had this mind of an entrepreneur right from a very young age. I've always wanted to build my own stuff, do my own things. And like I just have like lots of ideas that have been floating, through my head all this while.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm kind of like in a much better space to execute them, because I have more knowledge, I have more resources, I know more people that I could bring together to bring things to life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what it's gonna look like for me. Yeah.
So CEO, co-founder.
I mean, whichever one.
Yeah.
Whichever one it comes
cool
to.
title. Cool title.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you a lot for spending this time with me and answering these
Absolutely.
questions. It was really nice having you. share your career journey and share your thoughts on general things. So, thank you. Thank
It's been
you.
a pleasure.